Hi, thanks for hosting us, guys. My question's for Mr. Nonis, and I was just wondering, with the recent contract with Nazem Kadri, the ongoing contract dispute with Cody Franson, if you could just sort of give us, not so much specifics, but just some sort of behind-the-scenes details on how it works out with with these kind of players, restricted free agents, and sort of the positions that you come from and that they can come from. Thank you.
Sure. With Naz, first of all, the cap, as you all know, came down roughly $6 million this year, which for a team like ours, it's going to be a cap team. We want to make sure we're allocating the dollars to everybody that we could sign. We didn't want to have to trade players away once we got into the summer. So with Nazem, it was important to us to get him at a number that we felt made sense to us. We talked a little bit about length of contract with him, and for us, a 2-year deal was one that always made sense. With that said, we went to him and said, come back to us with a 6-year deal or 5-year deal, whatever you think is appropriate. I'm telling you, I don't think it works for us, but just to be fair to you, we want to listen to what you have to say. He came back with a number that did not make sense to us, and I understand what he was thinking about, but it did make sense to the Toronto Maple Leafs. To his credit, he came around to the point where we needed to have a gap deal, the second contract deal that paid him well. I don't think anyone here would feel bad for Nazem's payday, but also protected us for the long term. And I'm, again, not saying that we would never do a long-term deal with a young player, but the other factor, and I'm a believer in this, is that when players earn their contracts, they play better. And a lot of the young players who got the big money at a young age, whether it's after year 1 or year 2, a great number of them, in fact, the majority of them struggle. They're not prepared to be the go-to guys. A lot of pressure comes with a $6 million contract. And it's important for those guys to turn into those players, not be given that title as the elite player. You look at Logan Couture, who I think has done it the right way, had an excellent couple of seasons under his entry-level contract, scored 34 goals, I believe, signed a gap deal, a couple-year deal. Then he turned himself into an even better player. Now he's more established. He's a leader. Then he signs a long-term deal at big money. And that's what we envision for Nazem. We envision Naz to be here for a long time, to have an excellent year here this year, improve next year, and then we'll try to sign him long-term. With Cody, we were in a situation that he had 2 options. One was to take his qualifying offer. He didn't do that. Second was to file for arbitration. He didn't do that. So now we're in a situation where we have to try to find some common ground to reach a deal. We'd like to get him signed. We want the player here. I know it's not personal. He wants to play. There's not any animosity. We'd like to have him back here, but there has to be a number that makes sense for us, given the cap where it is.